Hey everyone, it's Deshelle from hidethechocolate.com, where I share about a relaxed Charlotte Mason homeschool. And today is Terrific Curricula Tuesday video version. So on Terrific Curricula Tuesday, I talk about homeschool curricula that I've personally reviewed and or used in our homeschool. And I like to let you know what the program is about and give you an idea of if this curriculum will be a perfect fit for you. Because we know that some curricula are great fits for some people that aren't so much a great fit for yourself or your homeschool. And then also we know that some curricula are a great fit for a certain child, but not so much for the other child. So it's important to take a look at these things, touch and feel them before you get to we purchase them. So today we're going to take a look at CTC Math. So you may have heard about CTC Math. I will be honest, for years I've been hearing about CTC Math, and I finally decided, okay, I need to figure out what this is because everybody's talking about it and they're loving it. All my friends were loving it. So let's dig in. So first, what is CTC Math? Okay, so CTC Math is obviously a math curriculum, but it's an online math curriculum. So this is not one of those that has live videos. This is one of those that has self-paced recorded videos, which is great if your kid absolutely tests live videos, which my kids do. Well, one of my kids does. Let me rephrase. So this is great for that. It is a math curriculum that works for kindergartners really all the way through high school. I believe the last course it has is calculus. We haven't gotten there yet, but I used to teach that one and I really enjoyed calculus, one of my favorite ones. The lessons are really short, so they're generally going to be, 3 to 10 minutes, which is great for all of you relaxed Charlotte Mason homeschoolers because we know keep this lesson short and simple so the kids can grasp the concept and move on at their pace. It has a self-grading feature, which I love because I absolutely detest regrading papers. Yeah, it makes me a little grumpy. Okay, it also sends periodic reports to the parents, so you get to set the frequency on that. So, a lot of great options for this program. But before I tell you who it's perfect for, let's dig in and let's take a look at what it looks like, the actual program. Okay, so this view is the parent's view. And you can add as many students as you want to over here. You can see I have AM and KR. So just to take my kids' names off there. And you can add to their profile and make changes so they can be different. So like for A, her pass grade is 85%. And I can change that for any of the students. I can go in and edit the student right here. I can give how many attempts that she's allowed to have. Um, I usually allow them to have at least 2 attempts. On each one, I can go in and change the password and things like that. So you add your students under the parent view. You can see detailed reports here. You won't see anything for kindergarten because she's not in kindergarten. But you can see what she's recently done and her grade, and you can see that through here. You can look at all the different skills, the history, everything, and you can even export that if you want to for a report that you might want to present to your umbrella school or something along that line. Going back to the home, here I can see all my students again. I can see tasks that are in here, what activities been happening for the last day or two, who signed in. Here's the weekly reports that you can have sent to you. I have them emailed to me. You can see here's upcoming. So Kay will have an upcoming task that's due in 2 days. So this is the parent section, and it's great because you can see down here that I can get weekly progress reports and awards and certificates, so I know exactly what's going on. I can also just check in it randomly whenever I want to, like I am now. But let's take a moment now and let's look at the student view. So this is A, and she is in 7th grade. So she's about here in the basic math and pre-algebra. And what I love about this program is you can see that she has the ability to click on anything from kindergarten all the way up to calculus. Now, obviously, that wouldn't be very logical with her being in 7th grade, But it is great because if she starts working through this pre-algebra and she gets through it and she's doing really well, we can keep moving forward. And we can get through Algebra 1 if we wanted to. We don't have to stop this year and wait to next year before we move forward. Because, and I know other programs we've had to do that when once we finished that level of math, even if she was understanding it, she was zooming through it, we couldn't move forward to the next year. But it also means she can go back if there's maybe some section where she had some trouble understanding. We can go back here and we can look at reviewing it and doing a few more lessons on that. But we'll walk through a lesson here so you can see exactly what's going on. So let's just we'll do integers and we'll do division. Now these are all very short lessons. So this is what your student's going to see when they
Now in this
open
lesson
it
we're
up.
looking at division. Now the same rules apply as they did in multiplication. So a positive and a negative, when we're dividing that, we come up with a negative answer. A negative divided by a positive will come up with a negative as well. So the mixed means minus rule holds. So there's our mixed, we come up with a minus. There's mixed, we come up with a minus as well. If we're having a division involving two positives, our answer will be positive, and a division involving two negatives, our answer will be positive. So let's look at some examples. Firstly, negative 15 divided by negative 3. So division involving two negatives. So two negatives will end up getting a positive answer. And then we'll do the division. So we have 15 divided by 3, and that works out to be 5. Now as before, if we have positive 5 there, we can drop off that positive sign and simply have 5 as our answer. Example 2, negative 8 divided by 2. Well, let's consider that 2 firstly. That 2 doesn't have a sign in front, so we know it means positive 2. So the question really is a negative divided by a positive. So that's mixed, and mixed means minus. We'll get a minus answer. And then let's do the division. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So our answer there is negative 4. Example 3, 18 over negative 6. Now that 18 is positive, and the over means to divide. So really we have a positive divided by a negative. That's mixed. So mixed means minus. We get a negative answer. And then 18.
Now while your student is working, they may get distracted. Maybe a sibling walks in or something along those lines, and they may have to pause it. The great thing is she can pause what she's working on, and she can go back to playing when she's done, and she can even skip ahead.
Divided by 6 is 3. So we can see then that our answer is negative 3. Final example for this lesson, negative 35 over negative 7. So that's a division. We have two negatives dividing, so we end up getting a positive answer. And then 35 divided by 7 gives us 5. Well, that concludes our lesson. Good luck with your questions.
Okay, so when the lesson is over, you have some options of what to do next. You can go down to the lesson summary, and this is something you could print out. You could actually do this before and use it kind of as course notes that your student could open up and then jot down their notes as they're watching the video. So that's an option. Afterwards, there are questions up at the top. So the student will just click on Start Questions, and they'll start answering the questions. Now, if you'll notice up here, it has a score of 0%. So if we put in different answers, that's going to change. So let's just try putting in a negative 14, and we get a 100% score. We click to the next question, and let's just put in an answer that's wrong. You'll see it tells us that our answer is wrong, and our score drops down to 50%. And we can just keep doing this, and the score will keep adjusting for us as we go through. So now you see the score went up to 67% because that one was correct. Now we also have the option of a worksheet. So the great thing about this is you can view this worksheet, and the student can just read read through the worksheet, or they can print this worksheet. I love this option because then they can print it out and they can do all the work sitting down at their desk or wherever they want to sit. And then after they're finished with the worksheet, they can go down to enter their answers. So they can put all their answers in there. And then they get this option of, once they submit it, which, sorry, I didn't put anything in there, they get the option of viewing solutions. So that way they can see what are their answers, how to do the problem. So if it comes up and number 5 is incorrect, then it'll show them how to work on number 5 and make it correct. Okay, so that's how we would work through a lesson. Now I wanted to show you something else. One of the fun things I thought was about this is we're using this as a product to work with another program. So for Kay, he's working in Life of Fred. So in the parent section, I'm back in the parent section, you notice I have this, it says upcoming. This is a task. So what I've done is I've gone through and looked at Apples, which is the first Life of Fred book, and I've pulled out different tasks that we're reviewing in that book. And I've gone through CTC and pulled the different lessons. So he can now, after he's done with reading Life of Fred, he can go through here and do some more CTC math problems about, we're learning about ellipses and circles and different things, and he can work on those in a different task. So this is a really great program to use to supplement. Okay, so now we've had a chance to look at this program. Let's talk about who I think this program would be perfect for. So, if you're the parent of more than one student, this is fantastic because you can add all your students in there. You don't have to buy individual programs for each student. You can just use them all. It is also perfect for that student who needs a little extra help in an area of math and that could be considered another grade level. So a lot of times I know like kids will get stuck on a subject like fractions or something like that, and they may need to just do a little bit extra to beef up their learning on that before they move forward. Because as homeschoolers, we know that this is not a classroom setting, so we're not just going to keep moving forward because that's what we do the next day. We're going to stick to this topic until our kid understands it because there's no point in moving forward until they understand it, especially in the math realm, because if kids don't understand that basic principle, then they're going to just keep getting more and more confused and further behind and more stressed and frustrated. And honestly, there's nothing worse than a kid crying over math. And it has happened in our homeschool more than once because they are not math lovers like me. So this is great for that student who needs that little bit extra help. But on the alternative, it's also great for that student who wants to get ahead and move on to another level. So it may be that you have a math lover who is really into math, great, does a good job. And when you buy seventh grade math, they're going to zip through it because they understand it, they love it, they're getting involved, they're zipping through quickly. And they want to move on to eighth grade math, and the year's not over, and now you're either going to buy another curriculum or you're having them wait. So with this curriculum, you can go ahead and move them forward into the next level of math. So I really like that because as a former math teacher in high school, I had students of all different levels, and it was really important to make sure that I got each student moving ahead, but I had to wait on, the slowest student in the class because I couldn't keep moving or I had to leave them behind. Those were my only two options. So that with your homeschool student, you don't have to do that and you can work with them at their pace. So I love that. This is really great for the working parent who needs an online option, who needs a video to teach them math. It doesn't necessarily have to be a working parent, but I am a working parent, so I think that way. Just a parent who doesn't want to teach math. Maybe you don't feel comfortable teaching math or you just don't like math and so you don't want to teach it. So this gives this great option of having someone else teach math for you, and it's kind of awesome that he has that amazing Australian accent. I love that. It's also great for the on the go students. So if you're constantly tripping back and forth, which you may be doing activities or they may be going to work with you or whatever the case may be, the student can work on this on their laptop, they can work on it on their tablet. They don't have to be sitting at home at a desktop so it's mobile and it can move with them. Now keep in mind you can also print out the worksheets and do the work on paper. So those are some great options too. So I really think this is a good fit for actually most people. It is not a mastery program in the sense like Matthew C, which I really do love the mastery programs. But you can make it a mastery program so you can work through all the certain areas like we discussed fractions. It's great that you can move around and have your students do different things and that you can actually make it a supplemental course. So that's the way we're using it. I really enjoy the fact that I can pick out certain topics and use it as a supplemental course because by the time I discovered CTCMath, we already had our math program. So I can add to that and then maybe next year use CTCMath as a full program. But I love that it has those options for me. It's very flexible and you can work with it very easily. Okay, so let's talk about how you can learn more about CTCMath, how you can dig into the program yourself. So CTC gives everyone a free trial. All you have to do is go to ctcmath.com/trial and you can sign up to get a free trial. I highly recommend this. It is super easy and then you can go through and play around with your students and see if there's something you're actually interested in. I always recommend for parents to go through and actually touch and feel. And we can't really touch and feel an online program, but you can work through it and play around and see if it's going to work for you. Okay, so let's talk money because that's what it all boils down to. How much is this going to cost you and is it worth the money? And let's just look at it for a minute. So there is going to be in the captions, a link, and you can click on that link and it will take you to 50% off link through CTC Math for Hide the Chocolate. And you can see the prices here. Now, this is actually amazingly good pricing for a family membership if you think about that. You're saying that as many kids as you have, 148.50 for the entire year. So you could have 5 kids in there and that's basically nothing. When you consider that I'm a former high school math teacher and 10 years ago when I was actually still tutoring, I was charging over $20 an hour. So yeah, that's pretty good money. That's a pretty good price. So you can click on one of these, enter your details, and you can get started on CTC Math as soon as you'd like. But definitely use this link so you can get 50% off.